Question let about professional education. Part 19. Question number 1. During their lesson on Philippine history, teacher Ramon asks his students to act out a short play showing how Filipino heroes fought for independence. According to Dale's cone of experience, what kind of learning experience does this activity represent? Letter A. Direct, purposeful experiences. Letter B. Contrived experiences. Letter C. Dramatic participation. Letter D. Visual symbols. The correct answer is letter C. Dramatic participation. In Dale's cone of experience, dramatic participation. In the scenario, it shows dramatic participation. It happens when the learners take part in role-playing, skits, or dramatizations to experience and understand concepts more deeply. When teacher Ramon lets students act out historical events, which means they actively participate instead of just listening or reading. By performing as Filipino heroes, students feel and experience what happened in history, making learning more meaningful and memorable. Dale's cone of experience, introduced by Edgar Dale, explains how people learn best through different types of experiences from abstract to concrete. It shows an active learning experience for the better understanding and retention of knowledge. Cone of experience introduced by Edgar Dale is a visual model that explains the different levels of learning experiences from direct and concrete to indirect and abstract. It shows that learners remember more effectively when they engage in active, hands-on experiences rather than just reading or hearing information. There are 10 stages to Dale cone of experience. First is the verbal symbols happen when learners use words, either spoken or written, to represent ideas. This is the most abstract level of learning, requiring imagination and background knowledge. For example, reading a textbook or listening to a lecture. Second is the visual symbols occur when learners interpret drawings, charts, graphs, and maps that represent ideas. These do not show the real thing but symbolize information visually. For example, reading a weather map or interpreting a pie chart. Third is still pictures, recordings, and radio. It involves the use of visual or audio materials that do not move. These help stimulate imagination and support verbal learning. For example, viewing photographs or listening to a podcast lesson. Fourth is motion pictures like videos or films. It take place when learners watch moving visuals that explain or illustrate concepts. This helps them see processes and actions that cannot be experienced directly. For example, watching a documentary about volcanoes. Fifth is the exhibits occur when learners view organized displays of information or objects. They can see, explore, and sometimes interact with materials at their own pace. For example, viewing science fair projects or classroom bulletin displays. Sixth stage is field trips happen when learners visit places where they can observe things in their natural setting. This gives them first-hand observation and understanding of real-world environments. For example, visiting a zoo, a museum, or factory. Seventh is the demonstrations occur when learners observe how something is done. A teacher or expert shows the step-by-step process while learners watch carefully. For example, a teacher demonstrating how to conduct a science experiment. 8 is the dramatic experiences take place when learners act out or role-play real situations to understand feelings, actions, or events. This helps them develop empathy and deeper understanding. For example, performing a short play about historical events. 9th is the contrived experiences happen when learners use models or mock-ups that represent real things or situations. These are substitutes for real experiences that may be too dangerous or impossible to do in real life. For example, using a model of the human body to study internal organs. Finally, the 10th stage is direct, purposeful experiences occur when learners learn by doing things themselves. They participate directly in real-life activities, which helps them gain genuine understanding through actual experience. For example, planting vegetables to learn about plant growth. Question number 2. Jenny performs well in most subjects but continues to have difficulty writing coherent sentences and organizing ideas. Her IQ is above average, and she is highly articulate verbally. What disability category is shown? Letter A. Intellectual disability. Letter B. Learning disability. Letter C. Autism spectrum disorder. Letter D. Emotional disorder. The correct answer is letter B. Learning disability. Jenny performs well in most subjects and even has above average intelligence, which means her overall thinking ability is not affected, therefore, it is not an intellectual disability. However, she struggles specifically with writing coherent sentences and organizing ideas, even though she speaks well. This indicates a specific difficulty in one academic skill area, like writing, while her other skills are normal or above average. Thus, Jenny's condition fits a learning disability, specifically dysgraphia, which is a written expression disorder. The problem is specific to writing, not general, and her intelligence remains intact. Dysgraphia is a learning disability that affects writing skills. It involves difficulty with forming letters neatly, spelling correctly, organizing thoughts on paper, writing sentences clearly. Even if the person can speak and think normally, they may struggle to put their ideas into written form. Question number 3. When conflicts arise among students, the guidance counselor mediates to restore peace and balance in the school community. This effort to maintain harmony in the school reflects the idea of letter A. Structural functionalism. Letter B. Conflict theory. Letter C. Symbolic interactionism. Letter D. Rational choice theory. The correct answer is letter A. Structural functionalism, because in this scenario, the guidance counselor mediates conflicts to restore balance in the school. The conflict theory focuses on the tension between students, while the symbolic interactionism looks at students' personal feelings and interpretations. However, the question emphasizes maintaining harmony at the system level, which reflects structural functionalism. The school is seen as an interrelated system where students, teachers, and counselors each have roles. Conflict resolution is a function that helps the school operate smoothly and maintain stability. Question number 4. Alex watched a peer play the piano beautifully, but he only practices after learning that the winner of the school talent show will receive a prize. Which process of observational learning is emphasized here? Letter A. Motor reproduction. Letter B. Motivation. Letter C. Retention. Letter D. Attention. The correct answer is letter B. Motivation. It is the process that determines whether a learner will actually perform a behavior after observing it, often depending on reinforcement or expected rewards. In the situation, Alex first paid attention to his peer playing the piano and observed how it was done. Then, through retention, he remembered the steps, such as the hand positions and the rhythm. After that, he had the motor reproduction ability to physically play the piano using what he observed. However, he only decided to practice and perform the behavior after learning that the winner of the school talent show would receive a prize. This shows that his action was driven by motivation, the final stage of observational learning, where the learner's desire to gain a reward or recognition encourages them to apply what they have learned. Question number 5. Teacher Amy teaches in a school with a set schedule and DEP Ed curriculum, while Ms. Tina conducts weekend baking lessons for out-of-school youth. Which statement best describes their type of education? Letter A. Both are structured forms of learning. Letter B. Both are formal education because lessons are organized. Letter C. Teacher Amy's teaching is formal education, while Ms. Tina is non-formal education. Letter D. Teacher Amy practices non-formal education, while Ms. Tina practices informal education. correct answer is letter C. Teacher Amy's teaching is formal education, while Ms. Tina is non-formal education. Because teacher Amy teaches in a school setting with a fixed schedule and DepEd prescribed curriculum, which are key features of formal education. This type of education is structured, follows specific learning standards, and usually leads to grades or certification. Meanwhile, Ms. Tina baking lessons are organized and purposeful, but take place outside the formal school system and are intended to develop practical skills for out-of-school youth. This fits non-formal education, which is flexible, community-based, and does not necessarily lead to a diploma. Both teach in structured ways but in different learning settings and purposes. 3 types of education. Formal education is a systematic, structured, and curriculum-based type of learning schools, colleges, and universities. Non-formal education, organized and purposeful learning happens outside the formal school system. Developing skills, values, or knowledge for daily living or employment community settings or training centers. Informal education, naturally and spontaneously through daily life experiences, family interactions, media, or personal exploration. Happens at home, in the community, or through personal experience. Question number 6. The principal noticed that teachers and students often greet each other warmly, celebrate achievements together, and follow a shared vision of excellence. Because of this, the school is known for its spirit of cooperation and respect. What is being described? Letter A. School climate. Letter B. School culture. Letter C. School structure. Letter D. School governance. The correct answer is letter B. School culture. In the situation, it describes how teachers and students greet each other warmly, celebrate achievements, and share a common vision of excellence. These are examples of the shared values, beliefs, and traditions that shape how people behave in school. This sense of cooperation, respect, and unity represents the school's culture, which is considered the personality of the institution. It shows what people in the school believe in and practice together over time. Meanwhile, school climate refers to the overall atmosphere or feeling within the school, like how students, teachers, and staff feel about being there. It reflects the emotional tone, safety, and relationships within the school environment. For example, a friendly and welcoming environment. Question number 7. Even without rewards, Jivy continue exploring the school's science exhibit. Later, when given a quiz, he answered correctly because he already observed and remembered what he saw. Which principle is best shown? Letter A. Conditioning. Letter B. Reinforcement. Letter C. Latent learning. Letter D. Classical response. The correct answer is letter C. Latent learning. Latent learning is a concept introduced by Edward Tolman in his theory of purposive behaviorism or neo-behaviorism, where he believed that behavior is goal-directed and that learning involves purpose and understanding. His theory combines observable behavior with cognitive processes such as thinking, planning, and expecting. It shows that learners do not simply react, but think and learn with intention. In the scenario, Jivy visited the science exhibit just for fun. He didn't receive any grades or rewards, yet when the teacher later gave a quiz, he was able to remember and answer correctly based on what he had seen. This situation illustrates latent learning, a hidden type of learning that occurs without any reinforcement or immediate reward, but becomes evident later when there is a reason or motivation to demonstrate it. Question number 8. Before creating her lesson plan, teacher Regine gathers data about her students' prior knowledge, learning styles, and the challenges they face in understanding science concepts. She also reviews curriculum standards to identify learning gaps. Which phase of the ADDIE model is teacher Regine performing? Letter A. Analyze. Letter B. Design. Letter C. Develop. Letter D. Implement. The correct answer is letter A. Analyze. In the given situation, teacher Regine gathers data about her students' prior knowledge, learning styles, and difficulties in understanding science concepts. She also reviews curriculum standards to identify learning gaps. This clearly shows that she is trying to understand her learners' needs and the learning requirements before creating her lesson plan, which is the main focus of the analyze phase. The analyze phase aims to answer questions like, who are my learners? What do they already know? What do they need to learn? And what challenges might affect their learning? By analyzing these factors, teacher Regine ensures that her future lesson design will be relevant, appropriate, and effective for her students. Question number 9. During a class presentation, Alice's heart starts beating fast, her hands tremble, and she begins to sweat. After noticing these physical changes, she realizes that she is feeling nervous and scared about speaking in front of the class. Which theory of emotion explains Alice's? Letter A. Cannon-Bard theory. Letter B. Schachter-Singer two-factor theory. Letter C. James Lange theory. Letter D. Lazarus cognitive appraisal theory. The correct answer is letter C. James Lange theory. According to the James Lange theory of emotion, explains how and why people feel emotions, in other words, what causes emotions, how they develop, and how our body and mind are involved when we experience feelings like happiness, fear, anger, or sadness. This means that our body reacts first, and then our mind interprets those physical changes as a specific emotion. In Alice's situation, she first experiences physiological reactions during her presentation when her heart starts beating fast, her hands tremble, and she sweats. These are bodily changes caused by her nervous system. And after noticing these reactions, her emotion follows. She becomes aware of her body's responses and realizes that she is feeling nervous and scared. Therefore, her emotion of fear or nervousness occurs after her physiological responses. Question number 10. Education during the Spanish period in the Philippines mainly focused on religion and was controlled by the church. What was the main purpose of education during this time? Letter A. To promote industrialization. Letter B. To prepare for democratic participation. Letter C. To develop scientific thinking. Letter D. To spread Christianity. The correct answer is letter D. To spread Christianity. During the Spanish period in the Philippines year 1565 to 1898. The main goal of education was religious conversion to spread Christianity and strengthen the influence of the Catholic Church. Education was controlled by the friars and missionaries, and schools were often attached to churches or convents. The subjects taught like catechism, reading, and writing were focused on understanding religious teachings and obeying church doctrines. Thank you for watching.